there, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another empowering episode of Energize Your Passion, the place where we gather to refuel our hearts, ignite our dreams, and yes, reclaim that beautiful spark of life, love, and purpose. I'm your host, Sunshine, and today's episode is one that hits home for so many of us out there. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt butterflies and anxiety all at once when meeting someone new? Have you ever pulled back from a promising connection because you weren't sure if it was your gut warning you or just leftover fear whispering in your ear? I hear you. I've lived it, and you are not alone. Today, we're diving into something powerful, something real. We're talking about the emotional roller coaster that comes with learning to trust again after 50. Because let's be honest, when you've been through heartbreak, betrayal, divorce, or just a life wild ride, learning to open your heart again can feel complicated. That's why this episode is titled Red Flags or Just Nerves. How to Trust Again After 50. We're going to gently pull back the layers of what it means to protect your peace without blocking out new joy. We'll talk about how to recognize red flags without assuming the worst. How to honor your past without letting it rule your future. And how to navigate this new chapter with courage, curiosity, and yes, compassion for yourself. Each of our 5 segments today will take you deeper into this journey, and I've got some heartfelt listener stories that'll truly touch you. So whether you're single, newly dating, or in a situationship, yeah, we're going to get there. Or just want to get to know you better. This space is for you. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, or cozy into somewhat feels good today. Because we're about to begin. And segment 1, oh, it's a good one. Segment 1, the trust wound, why it hurts more after 50. Okay, let's talk about the trust wound. You know, that ache, that invisible bruise left by a betrayal, a broken promise, or maybe even your own regrets. It's deep, and after 50, it can feel even heavier. Why? Because by now, we've lived, we've loved, we've lost. We've seen patterns play out, and sometimes we blame ourselves more than anyone else. Let's start here, because trust isn't just about someone else. It starts with you. Do you trust your own judgment? Do you second guess your feelings? Are you quick to dismiss your intuition? Or do you lean on that like an old friend? After 50, we're usually experience a few things. Long-term relationships that changed or ended. Disappointments in love or even in ourselves. Shifting family dynamics, kids growing up, life transitions. A sense that time is more precious and so are we. So when someone new comes along, those old wounds can speak up loud. Sometimes we mistake fear for facts. Sometimes we ignore our instinct because we want to believe. And other times we see red flags. But we're so tired of being alone that we squint and pretend they're pink. Let's bring in a couple of powerful listener stories that truly capture this space of vulnerability and rediscovery. Listener story number 1. Thought it was me. Shared by Renee, 56 from Atlanta. After my divorce, I met someone who seemed really charming. We talked for hours. He said all the right things, but there were little things, canceled plans, vague answers about his weekend. I brushed them off. I didn't want to be the paranoid woman, but it turned out he had another relationship going the whole time. It broke me. Not just because of him, but because I stopped trusting my own instincts. I thought maybe I was just too sensitive. That hurt the most. Thank you, Renee. What you're describing is so common. We silence our inner wisdom because we're afraid of being too much, too needy, or too broken. But trusting yourself is never too much. Listen to story number 2. I was scared to love again. Shared by Miguel, 61, from Phoenix. After losing my wife, I didn't think I'll ever date again. But I met someone at my church group, kind, funny, and patient. And still, I pulled away every time we got close. I wasn't seeing red flags. I was seeing ghosts. My fear was getting hurt again. I finally told her. She said, "You don't have to rush. I'll be here when you're ready to let love in again." That changed everything. Woo! That's the heart of it right there. Sometimes we're not dealing with red flags. We're dealing with grief, with fear, and those feelings deserve space too. So here's what I want you to remember from this segment. Your past doesn't disqualify you from love. It prepares you for it. Your intuition is not your enemy. It's your ally. Trust is not about erasing fear. It's about moving forward with it gently. And in our next segment, we're going to get into the real talk. What is a red flag? And what's just your nerves talking? How can you tell the difference? Let's clear some of that confusion with clarity, confidence, and care. Stick with me. We're just getting warmed up. Segment 2. Reading the signs. Red flags versus relationship anxiety. Okay, friends, welcome back. If segment 1 opened the heart, this one sharpens the lens. Because here's the thing. When you're trying to build something new, especially after 50, the hardest part isn't always finding someone, it's knowing how to interpret what you're feeling. Let's just be real. After you've been burned, everything can feel like a warning. A late text must mean that they're hiding something. They don't answer your call right away, probably cheating. They say, "I'm not ready to define this yet." Well, that must mean they're stringing you along, right? But sometimes it's not a red flag. It's our nerve system on high alert. It's anxiety. It's unhealed wounds whispering, "Protect yourself." And while those feelings are valid, they're not always accurate. So let's break it down. What's a red flag and what's just your heart doing jumping jacks? What is a red flag? Consistent dishonesty, even small lies stack up. Avoiding accountability. Nothing is ever their fault. Disrespect for boundaries, whether physical, emotional, or time related. Lack of transparency, secrecy, withholding information, dodging questions. Inconsistent behavior, saying one thing, doing another. Gaslighting, making you doubt your reality or feelings. Blame shifting, turning every concern you have back onto you. Now, contrast that with what might just be nerves. Feeling nervous before a date because it's been a while. Wanting clarity early, even when it's too soon to have all the answers. Overthinking a text or rereading it 100 times. Worrying they'll hurt you even when they haven't done anything yet. Being overly cautious because of your past pain. Sounds familiar? Let's take a pause here and hear from two listeners who were brave enough to share what it felt like when they couldn't tell the difference at first, but found clarity in their own way. Listener story number 1, I Almost Ran, shared by Charlene, 59, from Chicago. I met someone amazing through a hiking club. The first few weeks were perfect, but then he didn't text one night and I panicked. I started spiraling. He's ghosting me. He's not interested. I'm being played again. But the next morning, he called and said, I'm sorry. I left my phone in my car and just crashed early. Rough day at work. I realized my panic had nothing to do with him and everything to do with my past. I apologized and he said, I want to be the kind of person you don't have to worry about. That moment, healing. Charlene, wow, that kind of self-awareness. That's where transformation begins. And what a beautiful response from your partner. That's the kind of grace we all deserve. Listener story number 2, The Flag Was Real, shared by David, 63, from Seattle. I started seeing someone who never wanted to talk on the phone, only text. She'd disappear for days and say, sorry, I was super busy. I kept telling myself, don't be clingy, don't overreact, but my gut knew something was off. I finally did a little digging and yep, turns out I was the side relationship. It crushed me. I realized I wasn't nervous. I was picking up on red flags and ignoring them. David, thank you for sharing that. There's a difference between insecurity and instinct. Sometimes it's not anxiety. It's truth trying to get your attention. So here's a tip I love to share when people are unsure. Ask yourself, am I reacting to this person or to my past? If it's about this person's actual behavior, especially if it's reoccurring, pay attention. But if it's based on fear from a wound someone else created, give yourself a little grace. Let's not shame our nervousness. It's there for a reason. But let's learn to differentiate it from danger. That's the sweet spot. In our next segment, we're going even deeper because trust isn't just a choice, it's a process. So how do you rebuild it, especially if someone has broken it before? We're going to walk through that healing journey, step by step. Stick around. You don't want to miss what's next. Segment 3, brick by brick, rebuilding trust after it's been broken. Welcome back, my beautiful, resilient listeners. Now that we've talked about red flags versus nerves, let's tackle the big one. How do you actually trust again after it's been shattered? Trust doesn't snap back into place. It's not a switch you flip. It's a bridge rebuilt slowly, brick by brick. And you've got to lay every single one of those bricks with care, with compassion, and most of all, with yourself in mind. So let's talk about what it takes to trust again, especially when you've been through heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, or even abandonment. And yes, I mean that in romantic relationships, friendships, or even family ties. Trust is trust, and healing from broken trust is universal. Here's what people often don't realize. Trust doesn't start with them, it starts with you. The 5 building blocks of rebuilding trust. Number 1, self-trust. Learn to believe in instincts again. Number 2, transparency. Create open communication, even if it's uncomfortable. Number 3, time. Trust grows through consistent behavior, not big promises. Number 4, boundaries. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow and what you enforce. Number 5, grace. Healing isn't linear. There will be setbacks. Be kind to yourself. You don't have to be fully healed to be loved, but you do have to be aware of where your triggers live and how to keep them from running the show. Let's hear from a couple of listeners who have walked this winding road and discovered just how worth it the journey really is. Listener story number 1. Listening to trust me first. Shared by Vanessa 62 from Baltimore. I spent 20 years married to a man who gaslit me. I didn't even know the word until after we divorced. I kept doubting myself, even when I knew something was wrong. After the divorce, I realized I didn't just lose trust in him, I lost trust in me. Therapy helped. Journaling helped. I started taking myself on solo dates to prove I could rely on myself. And when I started dating again, I made a promise. If something doesn't feel right, I'll listen. I'm dating someone now who actually encourages me to speak up. It's a different kind of love, and it started with me. Yes, Vanessa, you said something so powerful. I lost trust in me. That's real. Rebuilding that self-trust is the most empowering thing you can do. It changes everything. Listener story number 2. She didn't rush me. Shared by Gordon, 58, from New Orleans. My ex had an affair. I didn't see it coming, and it broke something deep in me. I swore I'd never love again, but life surprised me. I met a woman through my photography class. She was gentle. She didn't push. When I told her I had trust issues, she didn't take it personally. She said, "Take your time. I'm not going anywhere unless you ask me to." That safety, it melted something in me. I realized I could trust again, not because the pain disappeared, but because she helped me feel safe enough to be real. Gordon, that story gave me chills. That's what trust should feel like. Safe, steady, no rush, just real connection. Now let me speak to someone out there who might be thinking, but I keep attracting the same kind of people. I hear this all the time. And here's the truth. You attract what you believe you deserve. When you start respecting your own boundaries, listening to your gut, and walking away from anything that doesn't feel like peace, you naturally stop entertaining people who disrespect your energy. Healing doesn't mean you won't ever be hurt again. It means you'll know sooner, leave faster, and recover stronger. And here's the beautiful thing. Trust isn't just rebuilt between people. It's stored in community too. That's why you're here. That's why we do this. So we don't have to heal in silence or isolation. Let me leave you with a mantra. I trust myself to protect my peace, honor my growth, and choose love with wisdom. Let me say that again. I trust myself to protect my peace, honor my growth, and choose love with wisdom. Now, are you ready to talk about the adventures of new love after 50? Because in the next segment, we're leaning into hope, into joy, into that fluttery, giddy, glorious space of trying again, this time with more clarity and confidence than ever. Let's talk about what it really looks like to open your heart in this season of love. See you in segment 4. You're going to love this one. Segment 4. Love, laughter, and second chances. Opening up again after 50. Welcome back, my beautiful souls. We've walked through the fear, we've untangled the confusion, and we've talked about the hard work of healing. Now, let's talk about joy. Because guess what? You deserve joy. You deserve love again. And yes, you are absolutely not too old to feel butterflies. In fact, I've argued that love after 50 hits different in the best way possible. It's deeper, it's richer, it's less about impressing and more about connecting. But let's be honest, opening up again can feel weird. It's like trying to remember how to dance after sitting on the sidelines for years. You might be thinking, do I still know how to flirt? What if I've forgotten how to kiss someone new? What if I fall for someone and it all falls apart again? Let's talk through it together because this stage of life is prime time for meaningful, fun, passionate connections. What makes love after 50 so special? You know yourself better now. No more pretending to be someone you're not just to be liked. You know what matters. Chemistry is fun, but character is what keeps you safe. You're not afraid to ask for what you want, whether it's emotional depth, adventure, or simple companionship. You're done with games. You want peace, partnership, and shared purpose. And yes, there are still butterflies and road trips and dancing barefoot in the kitchen. You are not too late. The story isn't over. It's just turning a beautiful page. Let's hear from 2 listeners who found exactly that. A second or third chance at real, rich love. Listener story number 1. Our grown-up love, shared by Renee, 57, from Atlanta. I met Henry at a retirement seminar. We both laughed at the same bad joke and started talking afterward. I've been single for 11 years and honestly thought I'll stay that way. I didn't trust my judgment, but Henry was kind, patient. We'll go on walks and talk for hours. No pressure, no games, just connection. Now we're planning a move to a lakeside college. I didn't fall in love fast. I grew in love. That's the beauty of it now. We're not rushing. We're just real. Renee, what a stunning reminder that grown-up love doesn't mean boring. It means solid. It means home. That gave me all the feels. Listener story number 2. She made me laugh again, shared by Thomas, 64, from Denver. After my wife passed, I spent 5 years completely closed off. Then one day I bumped into a woman at the grocery store. Literally ran into her with my cart. We laughed, we talked, we ended up grabbing coffee, and suddenly I was laughing again. It didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like hope. We've been seeing each other now for 18 months. She doesn't try to replace my wife. She honors my story, and she's helping me write a new chapter. Thomas, thank you so much for that gift. That kind of love, one that honors your past while walking with you into the future. That's rare and so beautiful. Tips for opening your heart again. If you're thinking about trying again but feeling hesitant, here are a few gentle tips. 1. Start slow. A coffee date is enough. You don't need to dive in all at once. Number 2. Lead with curiosity, not expectation. Ask questions. Learn who they really are. Number 3. Use your voice. Say what you need. Say what you fear. Say what you want. Number 4. Laugh. Laughter builds connection faster than chemistry ever will. Number 5. Don't compare. This isn't your last relationship. It's a new story. Here's the truth. You're not trying to replace anyone. You're trying to add joy to your life. You are not a burden. You are not too late. And you don't have to settle. When you show up as your authentic self, fully, freely, and bravely, you give love the space to meet you where you are. Not for who you used to be, but for who you are now. Before we head into our final segment, let me say this. You've already done the bravest thing. You stayed open. You're here. You're healing. You're hopeful. And in our final segment, we're going to bring it all together. Every lesson, every story, every reminder, and wrap it up with a heart-forward summary of how to spot red flags. Ease your nerves and trust love again after 50. Stick with me, fam. Let's close strong. Segment 5, the final truth. Trusting again without losing yourself. Here we are, my friends, segment 5. We've journeyed together through fear, healing, joy, and rediscovery. And now, let's land this episode in the space where trust lives strongest, inside yourself. Because here's the final truth. Trusting again isn't about forgetting the past. It's about learning to carry it with grace, wisdom, and in a heart that knows its own worth. This episode has been about helping you answer a tough question. Is this a red flag or am I just nervous? But the deeper question, the one underneath it all is, can I trust again without losing myself? And the answer is yes. A loud, confident, so deep yes. But not by accident, not by hoping or waiting or wishing. You do it intentionally. You do it with tools, support, self-awareness, and courage. Let's walk back through what we've uncovered today so it all lands deeply and clearly in your spirit. Segment 1 recap. Red flags versus nerves. We talked about red flags are patterns that erode your peace. Nerves are natural responses to vulnerability. You must pause when confused and check your emotional compass. You deserve to feel safe, seen, and steady, not spun out in anxiety. And we heard from Sherry and Lewis, who both showed us that when you listen to your gut, you protect your peace. Segment 2, recap. Unpacking the baggage. The past isn't a life sentence. We explored how trauma echoes in the present but doesn't have to define you. That healing requires intention, not just time. how you can gently unpack old wounds to make room for something new. Kendra and Malik showed us how acknowledging your story helps you rewrite your future, free of shame, free of power. Segment 3, recap. Brick by brick, rebuilding trust after it's been broken. We learned that trust begins with self-trust, and that has to be rebuilt patiently. Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges. Real love grows in the soil of transparency and grace. Vanessa and Gordon reminded us that learning to listen to ourselves again is what makes room for someone else to love us right. Segment 4 recap. Love, laughter, and second chances. Opening up again after 50. We celebrated the truth that love after 50 is a whole new adventure. You're not too late. You're actually perfectly on time. Grown-up love is rooted in mutual respect, shared values, and slow building joy. Renee and Thomas inspired us with real-life second chances and how love returns when we least expect it, but most need it. So what now? How do you trust again without losing yourself? You learn to listen to yourself more than your fear. Say no to chaos and yes to consistency. Believe that what you've been through prepared you for something better. Know that being open doesn't mean being naive. It means being brave. Here's what I want you to hold on to. You are worthy of being chosen by someone who shows up. You are enough just as you are. Wounded, wise, and wonderful. You don't have to rush. You get to decide. It's never too late to begin again with more clarity, compassion, and confidence than ever before. Now we have a final spotlight finale listener story. I took a chance on me, shared by Maria, 61 from Phoenix. I stopped dating for 7 years after my divorce. I kept waiting until I got over it. But one day, I realized I was waiting for a version of me that no longer existed. So I said yes to dinner with a friend of a friend. It wasn't sparks. It was comfortable. We're still dating, but more importantly, I'm showing up for me. That's what changed everything. Marla, that's it. That's the message. Trusting again starts with trusting your decision to show up for yourself. So here we are, full circle. We've named the difference between anxiety and actual warning signs, looked honestly at how the past lingers but doesn't define us, explored the slow, intentional process of rebuilding trust, opened the door to new, real, soul-filling love. Even now, especially now, you have everything you need already within you. So here's what I want you to do, friend. Reflect on the stories you've heard today. Which one felt like yours? Journal one thing you're ready to release and one thing you're ready to receive. Take one small step towards opening your heart again, whether it's calling that friend, saying yes to coffee, or simply smiling at someone new. And finally, if this episode spoke to your heart, please give Energize Your Passion a 5-star rating and leave a review. That helps us reach even more beautiful souls like you. Share this episode with someone who might need it. Tag me, Sunshine, on social media with your biggest takeaway. And remember, you're not broken. You're blooming. Until next time, keep smiling, keep growing, and keep trusting your journey. This is Sunshine, and I'll see you in the next episode of Energize Your Passion.